Hello guys, it's Kayla here. I sincerely hope that you're all doing well. So today's video is one that's been highly requested and is one that I've really wanted to make for two reasons. One, the few videos that do exist that reference the situation are over-dramatized, rumor-mongering, and just don't tell you much about what happened. Two, I've seen an unbelievable amount of hate towards art specifically, and it's clear to me that it's coming from a place of extreme bias and misinformation. That's why I'm here to set the record straight once and for all. And of course, the situation I'm talking about is the very public fight that Mew and Art had while they were filming and promoting the BL series What the Duck. Now, before I break down the timeline of events for you, I want to put a huge disclaimer here. If you clicked on this video with the intention of spreading hate against either actor involved, leave. If you're going to comment but not watch the video in its entirety, leave. Opinions, as always, are welcome. I love hearing from your guys' different perspectives. But I will not tolerate comments that are outright bashing Mew or Art for things that, at this point, are in the past. We can criticize their actions without being nasty. Instead, let's be calm, collected, and respectful of each other. Okay? Anyway, let's get into it. So on September 7th, 2018, Mew tweeted, "Loving the ones who love us is already good enough." Then shortly after, he deleted this tweet. Fans weren't too concerned about this, but it seems as though this was the start of the drama because on that same day, Mew also tweeted, "Caring for each other sometimes would be nice," to which Art responded with, "Being less selfish sometimes would be also nice." Then Mew tweeted back at him saying, "If you don't love me, then just say so. The end." There are two other tweets that he made that day directed at Art. One said, "Are you still angry at me?" with Art's handle attached. The other said, "Looks like we won't be understanding each other. Nong doesn't love me. The end." Even after their exchange and Mew's cryptic tweets, fans thought they might be pulling a prank or bickering over something unimportant. But things took a turn when Mew deleted all these tweets and changed his username to Lord Mew, who is taking a break for the time being. And as you can see, he changed his display photo as well. He also unfollowed Art on both Twitter and Instagram. Moving on to September 8th, Mew posted an Instagram story listening to a song called I'll Always Love You by Lipta featuring Room 39. It's basically a song about heartbreak. So that, combined with his tweets from the previous day, had fans worried about his relationship with Art. A couple days after this, on the 10th I believe, Art did a live where he briefly addressed the fight he and Mew had. He didn't go into detail, but he did say, "To be honest, no matter how much you fight, it's impossible to break off a relationship. Don't worry guys, we have already sorted out." Art's statement put everyone at ease for the time being. On October 1st, 2018, Mew did a live and someone asked him if he wanted Art to sleep over at his place, to which Mew responded, "I want him to sleep over, but he said that it depends on whether he will come or not. If he wants to come over, then he will let me know. So I would not be asking him again because of the fight we had last time." So right now in the timeline, nobody knew what they fought about. Fans just knew that there was a fight that happened between them the last time they had a sleepover. So for this next part, I could not for the life of me find this live anywhere, but supposedly Mew did a live on October 23rd and accused Art of pretending to be sick as an excuse for him being late to rehearsals. He also claimed that he's been having problems with Art on and off camera, but he wasn't specific as to what those problems were, other than Art failing to finish a vlog that was supposed to be uploaded. Mew then says that things are uncomfortable between them, and he thinks they should keep their distance. After that live, on the same day, Art uploaded an apology on Twitter, which you can pause to read here. To summarize, he addresses being late to rehearsals and not finishing the vlog, and he mentions that he'll always respect Mew. So now it was evident that something serious had gone on between them, whether it was about work or personal business. Fans still weren't sure. Later on that day, Mew tweeted, "What I got from this story is that we still have many more years to go. We have the opportunity to learn on how to live a good life, give love to others, and do good towards others. If we continue, we will have a chance of finding good love." At the time, it seemed as though this would mark the end of the drama. Unfortunately, it wasn't. On the 24th, Art did his live that I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. In this live, he brings up the sleepover situation that he and Mew had both previously said they'd resolved privately. He goes into some detail claiming that Mew kissed him, and because he didn't want him to feel sad, he let him do it. Then he claims he called Mew a few days later and confronted him about the kiss, saying that he wasn't okay with it and wanted their relationship to remain as brothers. The next thing he comments about is the fact that Mew was publicly tweeting shady things at him instead of contacting him privately about whatever problems they were having. Art claims that he contacted Mew privately after his initial tweets, but he doesn't mention what Mew's response was. He then goes on to discuss Mew's live where he talked about him being late to rehearsals. He claims that he was in fact sick and actually went up to a staff member asking for medicine. After taking the medicine, he says he fell asleep and woke up late. He explains that he was late in part because he didn't know what time rehearsals started. He also claims that there were other people involved in the production that didn't know as well. He then explains that Mew called him from rehearsals asking where he was. After getting to rehearsals 30 minutes late, he claims that Mew raised his voice at him, telling him, "Don't act clueless." Art goes on to say that Mew bought him gifts to make up for shouting at him and that Mew wanted to apologize, but Art said that it was already done, meaning that Mew already made him feel bad, so what was the point? Then Art brings up something that's unrelated to the kiss at the sleepover or him being late to rehearsals. He makes an additional claim that Mew told him not to hang out with certain people and that Mew is distrustful of everyone. He claims that Mew even went as far as messaging two of his friends, telling them to stay away from Art. That's pretty much everything he covers in that live that has to do with Mew. Now, if you noticed, I used the word claim quite a bit, and that's because everything that Art said in that live was a claim. We, as outsiders to the situation, don't know if the things he said are true. We don't know what exactly happened at the sleepover, but it seems there wasn't more than that kiss. We don't know what Mew and Art spoke about privately when their initial fight happened, or throughout this whole ordeal, honestly. We don't know if Art lied about being sick or genuinely was, and we don't know the circumstances around Mew shouting at him. And lastly, we don't know if Mew really did contact Art's friends telling them to stay away from him. There's so much about this situation that we just don't know, and I want to make that clear. There is one thing that Art did in his live that really upset people, and that's him outing Mew. As someone who's been forcibly outed throughout my entire life, I will say that it's not a critique that should be ignored. It doesn't feel good having someone speak on your sexuality when you're either not open about it or unsure. We also have to keep in mind that Art and Mew are in an industry that profits predominantly off gay men while being targeted at a straight female audience. So Mew being outed could have been the end of his career, as discriminatory as it is. On the flip side, Mew going on live to talk about Art being late to rehearsals and not cooperating with him on projects could have tarnished his reputation. And from what I've read these past 2 weeks, it has. I believe the last BL Art has been cast in is What the Duck Final Call. Now this could be for a multitude of reasons. The casting directors for the dramas he's auditioned for may just think he doesn't suit the role. But I do think it's a little naive to assume that his acting career wasn't affected negatively by his fight with Mew. Overall, I was shocked to find out just how many people have this vendetta against Art. To this day, people hate him. As for Mew, I've only ever seen support for him, which was shocking to me as well. I have a hard time understanding why everyone who was an avid fan of Mew Art as a ship decided to be on Mew's side and not Art's. I thought it would be a little more split down the middle. Now, I've tried to remain as unbiased as possible when it comes to covering this situation, but I must say that based on what we do know, it seems that they wronged each other. They both could have handled things better than they did, and in private. That's really all I have to say about it because so much is still unknown, and I'm not on either actor's side. but that's the gist of it. I want to reiterate that at the end of the day, nobody knows what truly happened between Mew and Art. We can speculate judging by the comments they made publicly, but we weren't there, and I think many people need to consider that when taking sides. But I hope this video gave you a clearer understanding of the situation. I know that it can be difficult for us international fans to find information on these kinds of things, especially if we weren't around when they happened. Again, we love sharing opinions, but please don't come onto this video spewing hate. If you don't like Mew, if you don't like Art, that's okay. Just don't be disrespectful in the comments, especially towards one another. I cannot stress this enough. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!